I was spending time with a specific friend, and he was just opening up to me and saying, like, I don't really know where I'm going. Like, I'm just going to work every single day, and I'm constantly in this cycle of trying really hard to, like, support my family and do all of these things, but I just don't see myself, like, ever getting out of it. And it's just, like, it's not fulfilling, and I don't know what to do. And I just remember thinking, like, no, like, the Lord is good, and, like, he will bring you out of that and bring you fulfillment.
My name is Zach Jansen. Welcome to Belonging on Nashville Catholic Radio, the show for young adults. We're joined each week, as we are, by Father Gervan, the chaplain at University Catholic here in Nashville, doing a lot for the Diocese. This week we're joined by Miss Hannah Shea, a college student here in Nashville, Tennessee, at Trevecca University, I believe, and doing a lot of great Christian and worship music. Very talented singer-songwriter. So just great mention that music field in the world of young adults. So Hannah, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you so much, Zach, for having me.
It's a pleasure having you here. Father told us a lot of great things as far as the connection with UCAT. We've had a lot of your classmates on here and friends from Belmont and Vanderbilt, the Focus Missionaries. So thanks for lugging your guitar up here. I know that feeling too. If you would please just give us a little bit of background for those who don't know who you are.
Yeah, so my name is Hannah Shea. I'm a junior at Trevecca Nazarene University, which is kind of near downtown in Nashville. And I'm originally from Clearwater, Florida, and yeah.
So what was your growing up like for you? What inspired you to choose that music path in your life?
Wow, so growing up, music was just like constantly surrounding me. Both of my parents were music majors in college, and they also played contemporary music through music ministry at Mass in my church growing up, and so it was just something that was always surrounding me. I grew up and played piano a little bit, like sang a little bit, and then eventually played clarinet through like middle school and high school, did like a little bit of marching band. But as far as like playing guitar and piano and songwriting and all of that, didn't really start until my junior year of high school. Yeah.
So the opportunity for college comes up, and was Nashville a clear choice for something, a new start to find that music path, or what brought you here?
Absolutely. I think that I knew I wanted to do commercial music and kind of study in that contemporary style, and also just study like Christian worship. And I had opportunities for sure. I think I auditioned for like 8 different schools to go to school in Florida. But it was kind of a drawing factor. Just I had kept hearing people talk about Nashville as Music City. And it was in Florida, like I could have gone to school there, but the idea of being surrounded by all of the musicians and the community of like contemporary writers that were in Nashville was a really strong pull for me.
And I have to ask too, if it ever gets difficult, because I was in your shoes too, studying commercial music here in Nashville, and it's great to study what you love as opposed to going through those 4 years and being miserable through it. But it is hard to explain sometimes, especially to family members. Family reunions are difficult when they say the golden question, "What are you going to do?" Which is true. What is any major going to do? But was it ever difficult, or did you always fight through and say, "This is what I love," whether someone understands it or not? Was your family supporting of you and your friends?
Yeah, my family was definitely supporting, but it was absolutely difficult. Everyone asks that question. What do you want to do after graduation? And I think in high school, I knew 2 things. I mean, I went through a long period in high school of just having no idea what I was supposed to do. I actually almost studied marine biology and stayed in Florida, and I loved the ocean, and that's what I wanted to do. But it was definitely a hard decision. But I knew 2 things. I knew that I loved music and I loved my faith. And I wanted to do something that would incorporate both of those things. And I looked around me and I would see Catholic female singer-songwriters making a living, writing worship music and leading worship. But my parents being in music ministry, it was something that they always said was like, you're never going to make a living doing music ministry. They played on Sundays and they, got that $100 from the Sunday gig, but that wasn't going to support, the whole entire family. And so I looked around and I said, okay, but the people that are making a living doing it, how are they doing that? And that was definitely a big inspiration for me. And so when people ask me, what are you going to do after graduation? Like, the goal is be a singer-songwriter, travel and play youth camps, make an income in that way, and then also like serve locally in the church. But
it's good that you have that goal in mind, a reason for waking up in the morning and saying, this is what I love to do.
Yeah.
I'm going to pursue it with all that I can. And it's interesting seeing, especially in the church too, in that college campus environment, there's the beauty of music and the beauty of worship too, as far as with the congregation, but even outside of it in moments like adoration. How do you see that as their pastor, Father, in a way of during those times of adoration, especially probably in that University Catholic Chapel or in the cathedral itself, just the beauty of having that music playing throughout the sanctuary? Is it a real testimony to the faith?
It is, and I think the biggest thing is, for me, is like I really want musicians that are not only playing, but praying as they play. Because it's not about just know the right notes, or it's about, and do you pray when you play? And that's the thing, Hannah and Danny Heck, they were leading us in the music for Awakening a couple of weeks ago, and it was like, it kind of, and with Hannah, I was like, what you're doing. It is not just like the technical part, it is not just the music part, but it's knowing who is there. Like we pray in adoration, you realize that Jesus is there. And by realizing that, you are worshiping with, you are helping us to pray with you.
I know what you mean, because you can hear a difference when someone goes through the motions, when they're showing up and they're just in it, unfortunately sometimes even for the money. But how do you make it a prayer, Hannah, when you're playing? Is it just a matter of taking a deep breath and being prepared and thinking why you're doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I just think that you can't not be in front of Jesus and like, in a way, why would you be in front of Jesus and like perform? I think that with worship, worship was always a draw for me because I didn't have to be perfect. And I think in the music world, there's this thing of go in the practice room 20 hours a day and work your butt off and sound perfect. And it was something where worship I could never rehearse. Like, it was just always free. And so even when I play camps and kids are like, are you nervous? Like, how do you deal with that? And I'm like, not really, because I know who I'm singing to.
I'm a professional. I don't get nervous.
But I feel, if I had to perform, I would be so nervous. But like especially in front of Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, like I'm not singing to anybody else other than him, and it's my prayers directly to the Father, and like he appreciates everything that I am. And so like it's just my worship becomes that conversation with God, even outside of the song. And
I think you can see that visually too. For those listening, Hannah has a lot of great music on YouTube, I believe, which you can find just by typing in Hannah Shea music, and a lot of great visuals with the Magnificat and all the beautiful prayers in that chapel there. But you can really see why you're doing it, for a reason, just to spread such a beautiful message, and just reading how it impacts people's lives. And as beautiful as life seems sometimes, it does get rough and difficult, even seeing as you're coming in here now going so fast, saying, this is my finals week in college. I'm running over here to do a radio show that I'm going to babysit after this. So does life just get tough sometimes or too much? And how do you deal with it, with the struggles of life?
Yeah, I think life can get very fast-paced, especially this semester. A lot of times I try to go into the semester really intentionally planning out to have a balance. But sometimes there's just things you can't plan for. And so I think in the midst of that, for me, it's just taking time to slow down and to pray, to remember that, I'm not the reason, and I'm not going to be able to make everything that I'm doing perfect, but if I offer everything up to the Lord, that my day and my life and all the busyness can be worship too.
I remember a couple of weeks ago, I asked Hannah why she wasn't on our Sunday choir. And then she said, well, they practice during Holy Hour, and for me, Holy Hour on Sunday is sacred. Wow. So I like that girl. Kind of but it is. It's not about... That'll be a great opportunity to perform. It would be a great opportunity to be there with, I was like, no. What is my priority? Is my prayer. So I will emphasize the prayer. And so I was like,
Yeah.
That's amazing. It seems to be the testimony of just all of the University Catholic kids that have come here in their early 20s, and even afterwards the missionaries that are coming in. Is that time that they spend in prayer that really makes a difference. A lot of them are spending a holy hour before they even walk in these doors, and you see the fruits of that. But how is that just changing their lives, Father? And that Versati house, I'm guessing that's where a lot of it happens, just the availability.
Yeah, and I think I was talking to somebody a couple of days ago. We have 2 holy hours at Versati, at University Catholic. We have the 10 a.m. holy hour. That is the missionaries' holy hour. It's our time to spend with Jesus. And we have the 4:30 holy hour. The 4:30 holy hour is a missionary holy hour. That's when you invite your friend. That's when you're like, hey, this person that I just met on campus is like, come here. And it's kind of like, almost like I don't know if I'm saying a heresy or not, but, like a work holy hour. Because you're there you're there because of Jesus, but you're bringing other people with you. But the second one only exists because of the first one. The first one that you're there and you be with Jesus and you have that prayer time. It's that time where I'm praying. Everybody in the staff is praying. On the second holy hour, I'm working, so to speak. I'm hearing confessions. I'm talking to people. But I need the 10 o'clock one so I can do the 4:30 one.
Wow, that's incredible. Just hearing the testimony of this, the faith that's alive. We talked last week what even makes a practicing Catholic, but it sounds like that's what it is. It's just having your soul on fire, that you want to be there, even when you don't want to sometimes, which really inspires just the path of life. And here you are, Hannah, finishing, is it your junior year of college?
Yeah, my junior year.
And I'm assuming you don't worry too much about the future at all, but where do you see yourself moving forward? Do you see yourself staying in Tennessee, or do you just kind of take it one day at a time?
I definitely do take it one day at a time.
Yeah.
I think that if anybody that knows me knows that, like, they'll ask me, what are you doing on Friday? I'm like, I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow until I look at my schedule and see. But I just know that throughout my life that the Lord has 100% swung doors wide open when I needed them opened, and intentionally placed so many different specific opportunities that I could never have dreamed of, in my life along the way. And a lot of people ask me, what are you going to do, when you graduate? It's coming up really fast. And I just always, as maybe as cliche as it is, say, I don't know, but I know the Lord will definitely show me and lead me. And so I think part of me, would love to stay in Tennessee. I've also thought about just different things like net ministries and traveling around, doing, more mission work type of stuff. But yeah.
You're right. It's amazing how those doors open for you right when you need it. I think with making even daily decisions or the big life ones, and it's funny, sometimes you can over spiritualize it, before making a college choice or maybe where you might go after this, you're waiting for a sign, all right, if this bird appears on the windowsill, that's probably God telling me to go. And sometimes, but the beauty of it, you have that, just if the Versati house is the example I'm using, but when you just, like you said, when you take it to prayer and just meditate on it, you're probably not going to get an angel coming down and telling you, but you're going to have the peace in your heart
absolutely.
Of saying what you want to do.
I have a sign in my office that says, if you're looking for a sign, it's it.
It's absolutely true.
Jesus is the answer.
Yes.
I enjoyed reading a little bit about your work online with YouTube and what you're putting out on the streaming platforms. But you had a beautiful blog written as well, kind of a reason why you're writing, your inspiration. If you'd like to talk a little bit about that, I know this song you might play a little later on in our show, but of just making it through life one day at a time when it gets monotonous, when you get stuck in the same thing over again. Could you speak a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah, so I believe what you're talking about is a song that I wrote titled To the End.
Yeah.
And I wrote it maybe a year or two ago when I went home for a break, for a Christmas break or Thanksgiving break. But I just remember going home and really that's always time to reconnect with friends and family that I haven't seen in a long time. And I was spending time with a specific friend, and he was just opening up to me and saying, I don't really know where I'm going. I'm just going to work every single day, and I'm constantly in this cycle of trying really hard to support my family and do all of these things, but I just don't see myself ever getting out of it. And it's just it's not fulfilling, and I don't know what to do. And I just remember thinking no, the Lord is good, and He will bring you bring you out of that and bring you fulfillment. And so I think that day I just went in and started writing a song. I really just felt like I wanted him to know hope, and I didn't know how else to communicate that other than to like write a song of hope. And so yeah, I was writing this song to the end, and it's just about, Jesus will bring us through these hard times and carry us all the way to the end of them. And as I started writing it, I realized this isn't just a song for this one kid. Like, this is a song for my aunt whose son is being really rebellious, and she just can't understand, like, when is he ever going to change? And this is a song for, honestly, this was pre-COVID, and I released it in January of 2020. And little did I know that this would be a song for the year, like for everyone, that would speak of like the Lord is going to bring us to the end of this hard time.
That's truly divine inspiration.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It's amazing how you have that topic. I think that just strikes me so much. Like here we are in our 20s, but even just experience those times of dryness where we're thinking, I'm stuck in the rut right now, and I don't feel like I'm going anywhere. I feel like that happens in all stages of life, whether where we are right now or when we get a little bit older in our 30s or a decade or two from now, we're with a family and a state and thinking we've been doing the same things every day. How can we refresh things?
Right.
And then thinking through that in the human element, but also in the spiritual form. Father, I'm curious your thoughts. How do we work through those times of even spiritual dryness where we think I'm just doing the same thing over again? How can I make it new for me to like just kind of rekindle that fire?
Yeah, it was funny. Yesterday, that's what I preach about, a lot of times you think our desires are wrong. Like, I have a desire for that. No, our desires needs to be purified. But if you don't have a desire, you're dead. You have to need desires, to live. You need to, if you don't have any desires, you're already dead. Wow. But then those desires have to be purified by the Lord. And the goal is that my desires are God's desires, that my desires are the same one of God. And then that's, what unity, and that's what we're looking for. So we have to, our desires are good. Whatever desire is good, or it can be good when they are the same desires of the Lord.
I think it's wild that you mentioned that, because that's what we were hinting at last week. We talked about kind of falling away from Catholicism and what we're looking for, even when we come back, or just from a time away from our faith, is that we have a desire for something to fill our hearts, but sometimes we're filling it in the wrong place. I believe, was it the book you quoted on, is it Newman? I can't remember exactly. But saying how we're searching for it in places like maybe like yoga or just whatever it may be. But there's something like more true. It's that time in the chapel. It's daily mass. It's living the sacraments, I guess, as you can say.
Yeah, that's it's funny because the Catholic Church is around for 2,000 years. There is a wisdom there. There's no other institution that has been around for so long. The Church has stuff to teach us and to show, what it is and how it is for us to pursue and to keep going.
Does it inspire you, Hannah, in a way, just to kind of live out the sacraments as far as being present in Mass, and even in those times of adoration as well? But thinking like this is why I am a young adult. This is my reason to wake up in the morning is the faith.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it shapes everything that I do, and the Lord first put the call on my heart to do music, and I would have no idea how to lead worship or how to do anything, how to be his servant, if I didn't go to the source and ask him, like, how do I do this, God? Like, teach me what to do. So, for sure. That's
a beautiful part of life. Sometimes we say yes to things, even when we don't know how to do it. And so I'm happy you brought your guitar with you today. If you feel comfortable, I'd love to hear the music that we've been talking about today. Just kind of hear the testimony. I believe you had a beautiful song prepared to the end, or whatever you'd like to play. You're welcome to grab that for a moment, and we can sit back for a second.
Awesome, thank you. You are seen, you are known, you are loved and pursued, even on those days when it feels like there's no getting through. You are not abandoned, and his heart is for you. These moments were so intently designed, even if you can't feel it. Even the wandering, he is working, and if he's for you, oh, nothing can stand against. Right now is not forever. There's hope in this season. Trust in him. He'll carry you to the end. When you sit and wonder what it's all for, just more hard work and persistence with no reward. The King of the world delights in your efforts. Facing pain in a trial you can't explain, praying to the good Lord, it'll go away. He's the one who's in control, who knows you'll be okay. 'Cause even in the wandering, he is working, and if he's for you, no, nothing can stand against. Right now is not forever. There's hope in this season. Trust in him. He'll carry you 'cause he carried the cross. He will lift you from your feet. He breathed his last so you could leave your burdens in the past. Oh, even in the wandering, he is working, and if he's for you, no, nothing can stand against. Right now is not forever. There's hope in this season. Trust in him. He'll carry you to the end.
That's Hannah Shea with her original song To the End, a music student at Trevecca Nazarene University. Great, beautiful singing and playing, Hannah. Great job.
Thank you.
But it's a pleasure having you on the show today to share your testimony of why you're here in Nashville, why you're doing what you're doing, why you're writing such beautiful music, spreading the faith, and just truly living it out each day and sharing your testimony. So, Hannah, thank you for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you to Father Gervan for all of his insight as well, and all he does at University Catholic. And thank you to everyone in our listening audience as we're broadcasting here in Music City. To share that gift of worship, as we mentioned earlier, that let it be a prayer, truly in your hearts, to lift up the music to God. And special thank you to Jim Chandler as well. Does a lot with our show, with recording and making it happen. Remember, you can find our podcast wherever you get your podcast by searching Belonging for Young Catholic Adults. And one more time, Hannah, please let everyone know where you can find your music and your work.
Yeah, so if you go on any streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, and you just look up Hannah Shea, you will find it there, as well as YouTube.
All right, you heard it there best. Hannah Shea, a very talented artist here in Nashville, Tennessee. Thank you again to our listening audience. We're filmed right here in the Oscar Romero studio here at the Catholic Pastoral Center.